just my methodology of how I go about going after experts. And it's sort of, I think it's 6 steps. Let's see if I can get them. But the first one is I call it casting the net. So you just basically assemble as much materials as you can, put on the listserv, go on the Eagle Exchange, get all of the depositions, all the reports, all of the financial information, go on the internet, do searches, figure out everything you can figure out about the experts, download their papers and all that stuff. That's one. Two, you got to read all this stuff. And this process I call 3 days of hell, because it usually takes me about 3 days to sit there and digest and do the next steps. But you got to read through it and kind of make some notes. Then the third step is I kind of organize it into chapters and lines of attack that I might end up using. And I start by kind of laying them all out. And then once I've got them all, I go through the fourth process, which is a lot of editing, because some of the things that I want to use, they're just not going to pan out in the end. So I kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, the good lines from the bad lines, and start to develop into a comprehensive program of like, this is what I'm going to try to use. The fifth stage is you got to put it in boxes. And this is more like what I was talking about, that I had a box with like everything tabbed out and copies and, put it into SharePoint and do all this stuff. But you want to be super, super tightly organized. And there's a reason, which is the next step, because once you get this box all organized and you've got an outline divided into chapters, you've got all of your source material all tabbed and ready to go for trial, the last step is the most important one. You take the box and you put the lid on it and you put it away. Because no matter how much time and energy you've spent on it, and no matter how excited you are to spring some of these traps on them, you got to stop and listen to their direct testimony at trial. Because a lot of times the stuff that they say at trial is gold. And if you're thinking about what you're going to say next and what's going to be in your box, you're not going to catch it. You're going to let it go right by you. So, and the whole point of having that all organized in a box is that you can free up your mind to just listen. In cases I have had where I don't use a single thing in my box, even though I spent 3 days of hell putting it all together, I heard something better on the stand and I just went with that. So and of course, if you don't get anything new, you got the box, but it's all ready to go. But that's my 6-point strategy.